Aloha, Grand Rising. So today I'm just going to address a question that I get quite a lot. It's about my starseed origins and how I reconnected with it and discovered it. So I'm just going to go back about 4 years, like when I first dropped out of college. This was the start of my spiritual awakening journey. So at the end of high school, one day, I took a magical trip with some people, with a collective from the mycelium family, and my whole world flipped pretty much in 24 hours, in a day. And that's when I realized that everything, the way that I'd been raised, was all a lie. And so I still went to art school anyways, just for my parents' sake. And when I got there, I was only there for like a semester and a half before I realized I was like wasting my time. I'm like, I'm gonna be here for 4 years just to get a stupid piece of paper. So I was like, no, I didn't tell my parents. I just kind of dropped out when I came home from spring break. And that was the start of my spiritual journey. So I'd been into yoga since I was like 16. I went vegetarian when I was 16 because I was very into health and working out at that time. So I had this like, I think it's a Scorpio in the 6th house, which is like the house of like everyday like things, and just being very in tune with myself and almost obsessive to a certain point. So when I first dropped out of college, I worked my first job ever, and that's actually also when I met my twin flame, who was also vegan at that time, and he was the first vegan person that I met here, in New Orleans actually, which is where I'm from. So then, randomly, a few months later, my brother was like, hey, do you want to move to Colorado with me on a whim? So I have Mars, Venus, and Jupiter in Sagittarius, so I was like, it seemed right, you know? I needed like a change of pace. I was sick of staying at my parents' house, and my dad didn't talk to me for like a whole month when I dropped out, okay? So I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a yoga instructor, and I kind of had an idea what I wanted to do. So I just went with my brother. We drove out to Colorado. It was like a 20-something hour drive. And that's like when I started doing learning and researching and learning about astrology and learning about things that actually interested me. So it was very easy for me to like I would spend my free time going to the bookstore and in the metaphysical spiritual section and just like opening to a random page and reading stuff. And that's kind of like how I started getting downloads. It was just like I didn't really know. I wasn't like actively, okay, I need to learn this. I would just randomly go places and open books and receive the information I needed for the day and then dip. So then one day I was at Barnes & Noble, and this was just a random Saturday. I opened the book. It was called The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life by John Philip Melchizedek, and it was volume 1. And it talks about Sirius in that book. So that was the first time I ever read about Sirius, and this information just like randomly came to me. I was getting like full-on body shivers and chills, like to the point where it was overwhelming, and I was having like this fucking spiritual experience in the bookstore, and I'd never experienced anything like that before. And I was like, why am I feeling like this? I didn't realize it until much later why I was having like full-on like goosebumps. My body was like, it was a spiritual experience, it felt like, when I was receiving this information for the first time. So for me, it kind of, I think I saw it as like I was activating my DNA. I was remembering again this information that really resonated with my soul. So also, since I was a kid, so I didn't realize like what starseeds were until much later, and it was kind of more like an inwards journey. I didn't have to go looking for it. It was more like the more I like looked in my past and reflected on myself, I realized like, oh shit, this is like my mission. So it's important to know what star system you came from, so you can know what your higher calling and your mission is in this lifetime. Ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with water. Like, my bedroom walls were sky blue when I was like growing up, and we moved a few times, but the first Halloween costume I ever had was a mermaid. And when I was a kid, my brothers and I would play these games where we would like fight each other with elements and stuff all the time. So, and I always resonated with water. I remember one time I picked fire, and I was like, oh no, it's not really my thing. Little things like that. And just like, I've also like since the start of my spiritual journey really resonated with the teachings of ancient Kemet. Like, When I first learned that the pyramids were actually bringing extraterrestrial energies onto this planet to like charge water and power a whole city on this like crystalline technology I was having like this crazy, like, I just couldn't believe that it just seemed too good to be true. And okay, so in that book that I read about, it talks about how our sun isn't in a fixed position, it's actually moving through space, and it's spiraling around a binary star system, which is Sirius B. So also the dolphins and the mer people and the whales, the first time I randomly moved to Maui on a whim after Colorado, I was like, I'm gonna go to Hawaii, because I've always resonated with Hawaii since I was a kid. So like one time I fell in like 5th grade and I busted my knee open and the scar was in the shape of Hawaii. And all the kids that I went to school with were, oh my god, you look like you could be Hawaiian, all this shit. So I finally moved out here about 3 years ago, and so much soul searching, so much connecting with myself, and many magical trips with mushrooms are very healing and medicinal. And anyways, so the first time I was ever connected with the dolphins and whales, I was in tears. Like, I remember, so there's this beach on the south side on Maui, and I went there, and I would lay in the ocean, my ears underwater, and you can actually hear the dolphins and the whales singing during the winter time. So, oh my god, I'm like seeing rainbow lights right now. I'm sorry, like when I close my eyes. But so the first time I heard it, I was just like, oh my god, like it sounded like they were talking to me and I was talking to them. Like I was sending signals out with them, and this information I was passing was giving them like upgrades on like where our collective was at this time. I'm like, are y'all ready? And they're like, oh yeah, we've been ready, we've been here with y'all, we've been trying to heal y'all and try to teach y'all how to love like unconditionally, and it's all universal, you know, you just have to remember how to reconnect with the water. And they tell me all this stuff about water, and I'm like, okay. So ever since I connected with my star group, my soul family, and also in dream time too, ever since I moved out to Hawaii, I've been having I've had multiple underwater dreams of like my family. My biological family was there too, which I think is symbolic of my soul family. But we were like all underwater and we were all breathing just fine. And there was like these shops, and it was like domes, like glass domes, and they were like gift shops. It was just like random everyday, like, but everything was just underwater in my biological family. This is like multiple times too. So that's another sign. So Sirius is a starseed that I resonate the most with. Of course, there's of course everyone is like, actually all humans are extraterrestrials. So of course you're gonna resonate with a lot of different ones, you know, because we've had multiple past lives. But for me, Sirius is the star system that I resonate with the most. I think it's important, if you want to know your starseed origin, to really make an inwards journey and going back to your past and just observing yourself throughout the years and seeing, like, because for me it was like a couple of spiritual experiences that revealed to me, like, oh, this is where my star origins are traced back to. So yeah, I hope this video helps you research more about the extraterrestrial race and starseeds. Like, so yeah, the Pleiadians are very like into music, and they love art, and they're very talkative, and that's how they channel information, through art and beauty and grace. So it's like the feminine side. Whereas the Sirians are more about like scholarly and intellectual, higher learning, and bringing sacred knowledge through and teaching it. Whereas Arcturians are more about like sacred geometric. They're like the builders, and they're very like analytical, and I kind of resonate with that a little bit, but a lot more so with the Sirius side. And the Andromedans are very like the playful kitty. They don't want to take anything seriously. They often have a lot of friends. They're easygoing. They hate money. The Lions are like the feline race. They're very they resonate a lot with cats. And as you know, cats are like divine, so, and their eyes are like the Vesca Pisces, you know. So if you think about, like, cats are always in between dimensions all the time. So anyways, so yeah, these are just the basic like starseeds that you can look up so you can connect with your higher purpose and mission. Most indigos, rainbows, and crystals are starseeds. So galactic origins just kind of help me understand myself on a deeper level and what I'm here to do. So thanks for tuning in. Subscribe for more content, like if this video was helpful, and share with people.